Good afternoon. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV. Meet the news. The headlines. OIV tell LUMEZI independent MP to reflect during his 30-day suspension. Coach drivers protest against poor working condition as ZCTU commemorates World Day of Decent Work. Details coming through after this commercial.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
And now the media news in detail. A 47-year-old woman of Kanyama compound suffering from cervical cancer along with her husband suffering from liver problems are living in dire poverty as none of them can hardly work.
Being in poor health is bad enough, but the situation is worse when sickness is coupled with poverty. This is the case of 47-year-old Emily Monga from Lusaka's Kanyama constituency living with cervical cancer, whose health has fast deteriorated due to the cancer coupled with poor diet, as she and her family are living in dire poverty. The woman explains that the lack of money has led to her missing many appointments at the University Teaching Hospital UTH for checkups due to the lack of transport money, adding that her husband, who often does piecework such as bricklaying, cannot work efficiently as he has developed liver problems.
ngati solo mamenenze naenda mcity scanning ninachitopempha kuja kumwene wa hospital kuti ananitandiza abantu kuti ngene mcity scanning alipointment ngene mcity scanning na bwera kuenda ku hospital kuti chigwere chipepa so chape ni kuwaya waya paka myezi yenda so chape waya wa hospital kuti vanipase mali zao kuti acha.
In a separate interview, her husband Jim Monga explains to Camnet News that he and his wife have 6 children, but says none of them is able to help them significantly, as while some are married, they too are living in a similar circumstance.
Nina liver foot problem nene midwaya. That's why sisebenza manini. Doctor wananuza tusisebenza manini nina liver problem. Pena kutima dia makabeshi, pena kutima dia malepu, so china libondwe na dele lebosi. Pena ngodivavuta nishivavuta zepi.
Meanwhile, concerned neighbors have emphasized the need for well-wishers to come on board and help the family whom they say are suffering before any lives are lost.
Tipempa chabeta ndizo. Tinga tatandizile pano panyumba. Na wamuna nao badwala liver problems. Wakwanisa kusebenza. Bakazi nao kansa ya vuta hii. Tandizo vakuja panyumba kaikulibwa menase mtabili. So tipempa chabeta ndizo.
Tulina vakansa aba bafuna tandizo baeserera kwenda ku clinic baba uzandrama zambili zamene sikwanisiwa kuzipeza so tupempa paka kwanilise kutandizira.
The well-being of the family will significantly improve as this will help the man of the house start a business which does not require manual labor and assist his family. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Operation Young Vote Executive Director Gus Nyirenda has welcomed the suspension of LUMEZI Independent Member of Parliament for 30 days. Mr. Nyirenda says Mr. Zulu's language is disrespectful and disappointing to the people who charged him with the responsibility to represent him.
The response by LUMEZI Independent Member of Parliament Munia Zulu in the House towards Jamba Machila has earned him a 30-day suspension in which it is hoped the youthful leader will reflect of using parliamentary language. Earlier this week, Mr. Zulu got angry and told the House he was at the same level with all members of Parliament, hence being in the House demanding for respect and equal treatment. Mr. Zulu specifically got angry that his submission was being downplayed by other long-serving members of Parliament who called him a young man.
And I know, Honorable Jamba, you referred to me as a young man when you were rebutting my thoughts. Everyone in us here, we are elders. We cannot continue on this trajectory, thinking that you will undermine our thoughts and submissions.
But this statement has surely earned him a place at home, or at least nowhere near parliamentary business.
It shows that the honourable member is unrepentant and wants to bring this august house into odium, ridicule and disrepute. Honourable members, taking into account the gravity of the offence committed by Mr. M. Zulu MP, and in view of the fact that Mr. Zulu MP is a repeat offender, I have, in exercise of my powers under Section 28(2) of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act, decided to suspend Mr. M. Zulu MP from the service of the National Assembly for a period of 30 days. Thus, in accordance with Section 28(2) of the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act, which requires a resolution of the House to suspend a member from the House, I now put a question. The question is that the House accordingly suspends Mr. M. Zulu MP for a period of 30 days. As many as are of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Of the contrary say no. No. I think the ayes have it.
Meanwhile, the Operation Young Vote has welcomed the 30-day suspension, describing Mr. Zulu's remarks as unpalatable, non-deserving of the House and his constituents.
Operation Young Vote, we do welcome the suspension of Honorable Munia Zulu from the proceedings of Parliament for the next 1 month. We say so because I think Munia Zulu must know that he's a representative of the people, and as a representative he must be careful on his choice of words to use on the floor of the House. I think it's uncalled for that he's going to use some of the unpalatables as it were. He must know that the constituency that he represents, first of all, his respective parliamentary constituents, but beyond that, he's representing the young people. And if, as a young person, he is going to use unpalatables, this is why and how the old folks and the other people and stakeholders would begin to say that the young people are unable or are incapable because of such issues. So we really plead with him, we really appeal to him that he must be very careful on his choice of words. You cannot use any word on the floor of the House.
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Former Zambia's ambassador to Ethiopia, Emmanuel Mwamba, has stressed the need for government to deliberately realize that the employment characteristics is highly informal, yet there are no sufficient laws to protect the informal sector.
Mining, which enjoyed a large formal sector, has been casualized. So they simply get one contractor who employs even 3,000 workers, and they pay that contractor, who then pays the 3,000 workers. Work there is not protected. The workers do not enjoy the protection that previous miners enjoyed. So it's a serious matter of worry. And you even have large corporations such as ZESCO and others that still have a large portfolio of informal workers. This day should remind us that the country has work to do. We recognize that the structure of our economy has totally changed from a formal economy to an informal economy, and the laws should evolve to support the worker. So viva worker, viva, long live to the worker.
In other news, coach drivers Friday morning protested by undertaking a work stoppage over what they are calling as punitive laws following the sentencing of a driver to 6 months when involved in an accident.
We are trying to present our grievances as well, as drivers. Do you know that the economy of the whole world is on the turn?
Placards and slogans of discontent characterize the intercity bus terminus in Zambia's capital city, Lusaka. Friday, 7th October 2022 will go down as a historical moment in the Zambian calendar as bus drivers donned tools to show displeasure over the punitive laws allegedly being enforced by the Road Transport and Safety Agency, RATSA.
A drive, I carry 67 passengers. An example, 67 passengers. What does the book say? Our highway code. What does it say? I'm driving 67 lives. Others are breadwinners, are going for meetings, like they've pointed out. They're going for meetings, they're going for interviews, different kind of programs. Okay, I'm carrying them in my bus. As I'm going, somebody who is very drunk just crosses. I'm in emotion. So should I protect that person killing the others? Because when I'm driving that thing, any slight shake, people are dying. But then
no bus was allowed to leave the station from 04 until around 08 hours, and the gesture was replicated in several parts of the country. But the work stoppage came as a surprise and disappointment to the traveling public who were heading to various destinations for various reasons.
Passengers bambi balenda pamanda ko batama kwata matushi naba kwata mafya naba kwata appointments bambi baleya kuvililo bambi balwele nomba ubwafyo kuleba ko bati tabatwebele mailo twaleshita ma tickets abatwebo ko bati mailo tukabefi tabatishiti ichachi nefi amalojes ifwe na tufuma.
The drivers were protesting due to, among other things, the sentencing of a bus driver by a Kawe court for causing death by dangerous driving, as they feel the law is not fair in that it may affect most of them. The drivers also used the occasion to highlight the wage injustice, among other conditions of services, as many of them earn as low as 1,200 kwacha.
As a driver, honestly speaking, I should go to jail because of one person trying to save the lives of all these that are even complaining. How many years am I going to be in jail? And who's going to support my family?
Later, during the standoff, Zambia Police Traffic Division Superintendent Yola Mpiri intervened and engaged the drivers to stop their strike as authorities engaged union leaders to address their grievances.
No driver has been attacked, no bus has been broken. It was a peaceful protest. I'm happy that it has happened that way. We had just a few officers. Nobody was intimidated here. We came pleading with you people. That's how, as police, we want to work. You didn't see any fire, tear gas here, nothing, because we came to compromise with you people. We hear your problems, but we were also looking at the grievances from the other side, the commuters who are giving us money.
The buses were later allowed to move to their various destinations. Notably, the Coach Drivers Union of Zambia has faced challenges to compel most of the transporters to affiliate to the union, thus making the fight for better conditions of service a difficult task. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Well, that news item brings us to the end of Camnet TV Midday News, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. OIV tell LUMEZI independent MP to reflect during his 30-day suspension. Coach drivers protest against poor working condition as ZCTU commemorates World Day of Decent Work. Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzeya Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing. Good afternoon.